Welcome back to America's Voice Live. Well, Hunter Biden is moving ahead with his fledgling and incredibly lucrative art career, even though his gallery show has been pushed back to the spring. I guess Hunter couldn't paint enough to make his deadline. I mean, finger painting is very involved. I mean, you got to wash your hands afterwards, everything. That hasn't stopped the president's son from selling 5 of his paintings, non-juried, pretty average artwork paintings. I know high school kids that do better artwork, and I'm not saying that to be smart. It's true. $75,000 each for 5 of these things. Unbelievable. Now new reports are surfacing that there may be some impropriety with the art gallery repping Hunter Biden. No. You got to be kidding me. A federal COVID loan to the gallery tripled after his father, Joe, took office. It went from $150,000. Then they got an additional $350,000. So it went from $150,000 to $500,000 total. With me to discuss the details of this is Tom Anderson. He filed a complaint with the Small Business Administration on behalf of the National Legal and Policy Center. Hey, Tom, could you file one on behalf of me and the rest of the American people? Because this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's not even transparent. And the thing is, they don't even care. They're so arrogant, they don't care, Tom. And that's, man, that's infuriating. What do you think?
Well, I agree, and I did file the complaint on behalf of all Americans. I mean, that's my job. I work in the nonprofit sector. I'm the director of the Government Integrity Project at the National Legal and Policy Center. We're a charity. We have over 4,000 individual donors, small money donors. So, yes, I filed the complaint on behalf of everyone in America, including Democrats, by the way, because ultimately, when you have a runaway program like the SBA has, the General Accounting Office sat down and examined this program, and they found that it is rife with fraud, waste, and abuse, just full of it. One vendor they hired to look at this program found over $200 million worth of these loans were given to fraudulent individuals or companies that didn't even exist. So that's where we're at with the program. And whenever we have a program like that, where when the Government Accounting Office is coming in and saying, hey, red flags, this program is a problem, we tend to take a look. We were shocked to see that in this troubled program, Hunter Biden's art dealer was involved. And what really blew us away was when we started to do the math, nothing added up. It didn't add up at all. And that's where we're at right now.
Well, one thing added up, Tom. In fairness, one thing added up and continues to add up. His bank account. See, so that continues to add up and add up and add up. So there is that. You said government integrity. Isn't that a bit of an oxymoron?
So it can be, but I don't think it is for this reason. We can have good government when it's limited, when it's applied properly. We have many, many Americans in our country who are really good government workers. They provide services. Unfortunately, for example, I'll say the PPP loan program was a very good program. It helped a lot of Americans in a tough time. What we're looking at here, though, I think is an example of bad government. Now, you're right. Most government probably is going to be a little shady. There's going to be problems with it. It's definitely going to be inefficient. But this program here stands out above a lot of them. And that's saying something. And that's why we had to file the complaint with the Inspector General, because at the end of the day, here's what's really interesting about this. Congress wrote into the CARES Act legislation a provision ordering the SBA to not take the normal ethical protocols they have to take if a member of Congress or a politician or one of their family members takes part in the program. Normally, the SBA has to run it through a side route that's an ethical route where they have to check for conflicts of interest and other things. Congress wrote a provision into this law saying they are not allowed to do that. So that's why we had to file this complaint with the Inspector General, to really get in on this and find out what's going on.
Just last week, Jen Psaki was asked about Hunter Biden's business dealings, because on the campaign trail, Papa Joe said, none of my family members will have any of these relationships, none of these entanglements, none of these business dealings. And yet when asked, Jen Psaki didn't have an answer about whether Hunter Biden had divested from all of these entanglements, whatever you'd like to call it, with foreign entities like Burisma and others. Don't you think that would be kind of an important thing to know? Don't you think everybody would know whether or not he's still involved, still invested? I mean, and this, let's be honest, Barack Obama's ethics chief says this whole art thing stinks to high heaven. It doesn't take a genius to figure this one out, but I'll give you the last word on all this. Hunter Biden is a problem, not just for Hunter Biden, but for this president because of the connections and all the things that we've heard. What do you think?
Well, totally. And in this case, here's the really big problem, and it's a potential problem, and it's what I'm looking at. It's why I filed this complaint. It's very possible that the disaster loan money that went to the Georges Berges Gallery, that money could be used and turned around to purchase Hunter's artwork. That could happen. That might have happened, actually. So that's why we're asking the inspector.
I never even considered that. I never even considered the fact that the art gallery could take the $500,000 COVID payoff.
Sorry.
I just leave it. I just like, and yet the news media, NBC, ABC, CBS seem
no one's looking.
Very uncurious. They don't, oh, yeah, look at that great artwork. I wouldn't hang that. I wouldn't hang that artwork in an outhouse, but that's where I have to leave it. All right, I'm sorry, Tom.
Okay.
I'm just a little
upset
there, but greatly appreciate it. Yeah, there's more. We got to have you back when we have some more time. Greatly appreciate it. Tom Anderson, great conversation, sir. Thank you very much. We'll take a quick break. We're a little over here.